cross, a symbol of death, not worship. The Cathars, a Gnostic Christian sect, rejected the veneration of the cross, viewing it as a symbol of worldly power and evil. They believed that the cross represented Rex Mundi, the Lord of the world, and associated it with pagan practices and earthly dominion. For the Cathars, the cross was a false symbol of authority that should be discarded, marking the sacraments of the church as instruments of worldly deception. The pagan origins of the cross. The book The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop explores the cross's pagan roots. The cross, as a religious symbol, predates the crucifixion of Jesus. It was used in the ancient Babylonian mystery religions and was associated with the god Tammuz. Tammuz, a deity tied to fertility, agriculture, and the cycles of death and rebirth, was depicted as a dying and resurrecting god. His worship included rituals of lamentation and symbols of resurrection, with the cross, or T-shape, central to these rites as an emblem of devotion to Tammuz. This historical connection between the cross and pagan religions raises questions about its integration into later Christian traditions. Groups like the Cathars saw the adoption of the cross by Christianity as a compromise with paganism, viewing it as a symbol of corruption rather than salvation. The Chi-Rho and its pagan origins. The Chi-Rho symbol, often associated with Christianity, also has pagan origins. The Chi-Rho is derived from the first two letters of the Greek word Christos, Chi-Rho. However, it was used in pre-Christian times within various pagan traditions. The Roman Emperor Constantine adopted this symbol in the early Christian period, but it was not originally a Christian emblem. Its use in Christianity was influenced by its existing presence in the Roman world, where it had been linked to deities and mystical beliefs. This historical context illustrates how the cross, as a symbol of Christianity, evolved from its pagan roots. The real power of the cross does not lie in the symbol itself, but in the spiritual truths of Jesus' death and resurrection. The use of the cross in worship is idolatry. The worship of the cross is viewed as idolatry because it shifts the focus from the core of Christianity, the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, to a physical symbol. The Bible warns against the veneration of images or objects in Exodus 20, verse 4-5. You shall not make for yourselves a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above or on the earth beneath or in the waters beneath the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. Jesus emphasized the importance of worshiping in spirit, not in physical forms, in John 4:24. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. Worshipping the physical cross diverts attention from the spiritual truths of Christ's death, transforming what should be a focus on his victory over death into a veneration of an object. This kind of worship leads to idolatry, as warned against in Scripture. The cross as a symbol of death. Instead of being an object to venerate, the cross represents death and suffering. It was the instrument of Jesus' execution, an instrument of humiliation and pain used by the Roman authorities. The significance of the crucifixion lies not in the cross itself, but in what Jesus accomplished through his death and resurrection. The Apostle Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 15:54-55, "Death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is your victory? O death, where is your sting?" The cross itself represents death. There is nothing inherently good about it. Jesus died on it, and that death is the key to salvation. The true meaning of the cross is not the object itself, but the death of Christ. As Gnostic Christians, we must recognize that veneration of the cross is an act of idolatry. It is not the cross, but the transformative power of Jesus' death that holds spiritual significance. True worship, rejecting the worship of the cross. For Gnostic Christians today, the teachings of the Cathars provide a valuable lesson. The Cathars rejected the worship of the cross, and so should we. True worship is not about external objects or symbols like the cross and rosary, but about gnosis, the inner knowledge and faith in the spirit of truth. Although I share the Cathars' practice of rejecting the veneration of the cross, I align with the Valentinian view of the demiurge, not as evil, but as an intermediary aligned with the divine will. In conclusion, the cross should not be a symbol of worship. It was the instrument of death, not a means of salvation through veneration. The focus should remain on the spiritual truths of Jesus' death and resurrection, which offer the path to divine knowledge and restoration.